All right, good to see everyone today. We are jumping into the world of character development. Some of you guys may have seen some of the posts that I put up, just giving a little preview of some of the things that we're doing with our character development program in the Relentless Studio Owners Group. We're going to really push you guys to think differently about character development in your schools. I'm going to show you guys some examples of some things that we're doing, but I'm hoping that from this, you guys are also just going to get some ideas on how to take it to the next level on your own. And feel free, as always, if you have any questions as we go through this, please interrupt me, drop it in the chat, whatever is easiest for you. And I'm happy to pause and just go through this. So to start with, I just want to go over what the definition of a character development program is from ChatGPT. And as we go through this, I just want you guys to think about your current character development program and sort of how it compares to what we're about to talk about. So according to ChatGPT, a character development program typically refers to a structured set of activities, lessons, or experiences designed to build or enhance personal qualities and social behaviors in individuals. The main goals of such programs is to foster moral, ethical, and emotional growth, promoting qualities like empathy, responsibility, integrity, and leadership. If we continue on, it sort of gives some examples of what this looks like. So it can be found in various settings, but through interactive workshops, mentoring, discussion groups, practical exercises, participants learn to navigate complex social environments, make ethical decisions, and develop a strong sense of self and community values. So one of the challenges that I've seen with our industry when it comes to character development is, and this isn't everyone, but there are a lot of schools in our industry that just use character development program as a buzzword to get people in the door, and then they don't fulfill on it on the back end, meaning their character development program consists of a 3-minute match chat. And if you think about it, you have students there twice a week on average. Okay, so let's say that's 8 times a month. If they're getting 3 minutes per class of character development, they're getting 24 minutes a month of character development. How many 5 to 12-year-olds do you know that are going to improve their character based on 24 minutes of practice? I don't think any of them, right? And then the problem that happens as a result of this is that the parents aren't seeing their child become better with character development. And the whole reason they signed up at our school is for this reason. And if I were to guess, if your school is anything like mine, on your intake form, when parents select what benefits they want their child to receive, I would bet that most of them are all revolving around character development. They want their child to listen better. They want them to focus better. They want them to have more confidence. And because we're martial artists, we put all of our effort and energy into martial arts and not what the parents are actually bringing their kids to our school for, which is character development. So the question I have, first of all, for you guys is, what is the goal of your character development program? Like, what is the end result that you want from this program? I think a lot of times we don't really think about the end result of this. We're thinking about the end result of martial arts. But for us, when we were thinking about how can we make it a different character development program from what other martial arts schools are doing and really just make it stand out even against the education system and what the education system is trying to instill in kids, like our end result is that we want kids to pretty much have the same takeaways that they would get if they were an adult in a mastermind. We want them to be able to know what emotional intelligence is. We want them to be able to know how to communicate properly and be advanced in communication with their age group. And one of the things I remember being a kid that was a martial artist in my classroom at school is I always felt like I was meant for something more, that I had an advantage over other kids. And it was mainly in part because of the character development traits that I had been taught. Okay, I was taught to have more confidence. I was taught to stand up for myself. I was taught to introduce myself to the new kids at school and all of those things. And with COVID, when COVID hit, I think a lot of us just got away from focusing on the character development program within our facilities. So question for you guys, and this one's going to be interactive. Okay, if we have a end goal for our students on the character development side, what are the actions that your students need to take in order to reach that goal? And if you guys can participate on this one, just drop it in the chat. But what are some things that you feel like your students should be doing physically doing in order to show that they are actually comprehending the character development that you are teaching in your school? What does that look like? And the reason that this question is so important is because this is what the parents see. The parents see the actions of their children. Regardless of what they're hearing in class, they're seeing the actions of their children at home. They're seeing the actions of their children at school. So what do those actions need to look like? Action martial arts. Thank you for answering. Have my students able to explain to their parents and teachers what each character skill means with examples of how to actually live it. Okay, good. What does that look like for everyone else? Let's get some other opinions. This is a good chance too for you guys just to see what other people are doing and what they're focusing on in their schools when it comes to character development. For us, one of our main actions that we want is the kids actually showing these character traits out in public and leading by example with it. Fun story while the rest of these are coming in. So one of our character developments that we do is money mastery, where we actually teach kids how to budget, how to invest, how to save money. And we were at a Halloween party a couple of years ago, and I think my oldest son was like 7 at the time. And he's talking to another 7-year-old at the party and starts talking to him about how he's been investing his money into Roblox stocks. And this other 7-year-old is looking at him like, dude, I just want to play with my cars. Like, leave me alone. But one of the parents came out to me and they're like, how does your 7-year-old know about stocks? And I was like, well, martial arts. Like, we teach it in martial arts. That's what I want more of, where parents are overhearing these conversations with kids and it's 7-year-olds talking about something that is more of an adult conversation in the sense of they're talking about mastering their emotions. They're talking about goal setting. They're talking about these positive character traits, and parents are overhearing this and saying, where did they learn to do that? Where did they learn about this? And then the answer comes back to, oh, they learned it at Move Martial Arts. They actually teach them how to understand finance and how to budget and how to invest at his martial arts school. They teach them how to go out of the way to show kindness at the martial arts school. That's what we want. What else? Does he show demonstrations of them doing it at home on social media, run activities in class and show the skill? Love that. Yeah, Mike Mitchell's Profit First is great. Garrett Gunderson have kid books on Monday. Jesse, verbal communication, that they understand the character skill, putting it into action on the mat and off the mat. The first stripe, the Internet Academy is a character development stripe. Love that. Parents spotlight and write down the moment their child has put that character trait into action. Yeah, these are great, guys. Awesome. The main thing that I really want you guys to get from this is have a written down goal that your staff understands is the end goal for your character development program. Because if they don't know what the end goal is, they're not going to know what to push them towards. It'd be like if we had a martial arts system with 0 belts, okay, how do you know what to push the kids towards? How do you know what to get them ready for? And then also having a set list of, hey, what do the actions look like that we want our students to take to show us and to show their parents and to show their community that they understand how to actually live these life skills, not just hear about them, not just talk about them. Okay, next part. What are the themes or topics that are going to help you to fulfill this goal? I think there's some really good themes and topics that have been around our industry for a while, but I also think there's a lot of themes and topics that are very outdated and are themes and topics that maybe don't have the same positive connotation that they used to have back in the day, if that makes sense. So what are the themes and topics that you're going to focus on? So what I did is I just threw a bunch of different ones together here, and you guys are welcome to screenshot this. If you want to grab any of them, you can. And what I did to comprise this list was I put some of the things that we're focusing on, but I also talked to some people in the masterminds that I'm a part of that focus on businesses that help kids, that focus on businesses that help adults to foster better personal development. And just talking to them, I was like, hey, what are some of the main things that you teach in your program that we might be missing? Like I never thought to teach kids about time management until I talked to someone that ran a mastermind for adults that was like, hey, 94% of adults don't know how to time block or manage their time. And I was like, that means probably 100% of kids don't know how to do that. And one of the other things that I've learned as we start to actually put our character development program into action is we're starting to teach kids things that parents have actually never learned. And because the parents haven't learned it, they're starting to learn it and take more interest into their kids for learning these character development traits. For example, if you guys think in your own life, when was the first time you started learning about emotional intelligence? If I'm being honest, the first time I started learning about emotional intelligence was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. Like, so I had gone 31 years of my life without actually learning what emotional intelligence was. And there's a lot of things that we know will give our kids the competitive advantage in life, that if we can equip them with these things at age 5, age 6, or age 7, man, sky is the limit for them. They're going to be able to process information and conversations in a much different way than any other kid their age. And what does that look like? I was talking to Alan DePena, who's also in our mastermind. One of the first things he teaches at his school is delaying instant gratification. He teaches his kids how to delay instant gratification. So that way they're not just going for the quick dopamine hits, but they're actually putting a plan in place of, no, I want to save my money and not just buy this toy right now. I want to save it for something better. Okay. Or even though I want this ice cream right now, I know that I got to go spar later today. So maybe I'm going to delay that a little bit, right? A lot of different topics. I don't think there's any right or wrong topics or themes. It just really needs to fall in line with what the culture is at your school. So we're going to do a little exercise real quick. And what I'm going to do is, if you guys have a piece of paper or notes on your phone, that's fine. What I want you to do is, I just want you to make a list of 12 of what you think are the most important themes or topics to incorporate into your character development program. Okay, 12 topics. And what we do, and you can do this a couple different ways. Some people do a new theme every month. We do a new theme every quarter. Going back to what I said at the beginning of this call, I don't think 1 month, in my opinion, and you can prove me wrong, I hope someone proves me wrong, I don't think 1 month is enough time for a kid to master a character development trait. That's why we do it over a 3-month period. It also falls in line with our graduation cycles as well. And as we start going through some of the stuff that we're currently doing with our character development program, I'm actually going to teach you guys how to sort of recreate it yourself. But what I like you guys to do is just take top 12, write them down. I'll share with you our 12 afterwards. But I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock so you guys can go ahead and start. Write down your top 12 themes or topics, and I'll put this slide back up so you can, if you want to pull some from this, go for it. And then I will share what we have with ours. All right, 2 minutes starts now. I know it's missing. There we go. And then once you guys have yours, if you want to share them in the chat, I would love to see them. You may have even come up with some themes that we haven't even thought about yet, which great part about Zoom calls like this is you guys are able to network and give each other ideas. Okay, 1 minute left. And obviously you're creating this list in 2 minutes, so please feel free to go back, review it later, edit, add to it, whatever you need to do. 10 more seconds left. We'll wrap it up. Okay, so hopefully you have something that resembles a list. If not, you can always go back and do that after this call. The 12 that we have at Move Martial Arts, and this may change over time, but we have Goal Getter, which is goal setting, emotional mastery, kindness, personal development, be relentless, money mastery, champion challenge, which is just teaching the champion mindset, time warp, which we pitch this to kids as we're going to teach them how to warp time so they get more things done, which is time management, fail forward, fitness first, gratefulness, impactful, integrity. And for gratefulness, we call it fierce gratitude at our school. And then what I would encourage you guys to do to make this more akin to your school and to give you guys an advantage against other martial arts schools in the area is you could do it where it's just like respect, responsibility, trust. That's one way to do it. Or use ChatGPT to help you create it as a specific term to you. So for example, I don't see anyone else that's teaching fierce gratitude. Like that is our term. That is unique to Move Martial Arts. I don't see anyone else that's teaching be relentless. I don't see anyone else teaching time warp. So we took character development traits and then we branded them to go along with our brand and how we word things in our martial arts school. So once you guys sort of have your list of 12 life skills that you guys want to teach, okay, then go back and think about how can we reword these life skills so they fit within our brand. Okay, if we're talking about transformation or like personal development, we don't call it personal development, we call it infinite transformation. Okay, so we have terms for every single life skill that make it unique to us, and I would encourage you guys to do that as well, just to help it stand out for you. Okay, now once we have our themes and topics, the next question is, how are we delivering this information to our students? And I should also say, and our parents, okay? Because the map chats, the character development worksheets, whatever you're doing is just as much for the parents as it is for the kids. Because when the parents know more about your life skill program, they hear it more often, they see their kids taking action on life skill program, your overall martial arts program becomes immensely more valuable to the parents within your school. So I'm going to go over how we are doing this. And then the last thing that I really want you guys to think about is how are you incentivizing your students to act on this information? What makes them actually want to go out and show kindness, to actually put into practice goal setting? What is the reward for doing that? And if you're like, well, the reward is them being a good person, that is awesome. But for kids, that's not enough motivation. They need something else. The way we do it is we actually make it a requirement for each belt. So, and I'll sort of get into how we structure that. Again, and we have a few people just jumping in. My goal with this is to teach you how we created our program so that you can just go and redo it for yourself, essentially. Okay, so let's talk about mat chats. We don't call them mat chats, we call them huddle talks at our school. These are not like sit down, crisscross applesauce while the coach talks to you at our school. Okay, I'm not saying it's wrong to do it any other way. That's just how we do it. So what we do is when we do our talks, we do them almost like a football huddle. Okay, so we have everyone standing, we have everyone huddled up close, and we actually want them to have some energy when we end the chat, and we want to make it very interactive throughout the chat. We want kids to be excited and fired up about character development. Okay, so for years, the way I did it was I would stand in front, everyone would say crisscross applesauce, and I would just talk to them and we'd interact, and that would be the mat chat. Okay, to me, though, looking back at the way we were doing it before, it wasn't as impactful as it could have been. Okay, and the kids also, when they're sitting down, they start playing with the mat, they start playing with the mat stickers, they start getting distracted playing with their belt. When you have them stand up, they're more active and more alert. Okay, and the reason I realized this is when we do short meetings at our school, when I went for a staff meeting, I went in one time and I noticed that the energy in the room was just sort of blah during the staff meeting. Everyone was sitting on comfortable chairs and couches and stuff. Immediately, I had everyone stand up. We changed to a different area of the school and we stayed standing for the rest of the meeting. Everyone was engaged more. Everyone was giving their opinion on things more just because they were standing up. Okay. I love doing this where everyone stand up in a huddle. Now, for actually creating our huddle talks, here's what I did. Okay. So the first thing is I opened up ChatGPT and I created the perfect avatar for what I would want someone to be that is creating a motivational life skill talk for kids. Okay, so I trained a ChatGPT channel, and you know what I'll do is actually pull it up right now, and I will give you guys sort of the an idea of the prompt that I use. Okay, but I use ChatGPT to help with this all the time. My ChatGPT channel is even called the Ultimate Youth Athlete Motivator. And I always like to model when I'm training a ChatGPT channel, I model it on people. Okay, so what I told this ChatGPT channel was I want you to act as a combination of Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Bill Walsh, Phil Jackson, and Deion Sanders to be the ultimate motivator for young athletes. The athletes you're talking to are between the ages of 8 to 12 years old. And then anytime I train ChatGPT, I always put respond yes if you understand, because ChatGPT will not tell you if it doesn't understand something unless you tell it to respond that it does understand. So if there's nuances that it doesn't really pick up, it's not going to tell you. If you train it the right way, it'll actually say, can you elaborate more on what you mean by this? Okay, which is what I want. That's the same thing I want in an employee. I wouldn't want them just to nod and be like, yes, and they don't actually understand it. So we create this ChatGPT channel to help create our Mat chats, okay? And then you want to give it instructions on your output. So how long do you want these huddles or Mat chats to be? What is the format that is being delivered in? Okay, is this something that people are going to be reading off? Is it something that you want your coaches to be able to memorize? Is it something that's going to be put into a video format? Okay, so you're going to tell ChatGPT all of these things. Okay, and then you're also going to give it specifics about the delivery and tone of the message. Is it supposed to be serious? Is it supposed to be inspirational? Is it supposed to be motivational? Is it supposed to have humor in it? Is it supposed to be like Steve from Blue's Clues when you do your presentation? Okay, maybe if you're doing this for your like Tiny Tigers, Little Dragons classes, maybe you're going to make it more like a Miss Rachel or a Steve from Blue's Clues or a Blippi, where you want it to be more animated and fun for that age group. And then maybe for like the 8 to 12 years old and teenagers, you're making it more like a football coach that's given this motivational talk. What I would encourage everyone to do is once you have your core set of Mat chats, okay, I would make it for your core group of students, whatever the biggest age group of students is at your school. For us, it's 8 to 12 years old. That's our biggest core group. So when I first made this, I made all the Mat chats for the 8 to 12-year-olds. Then I made versions of the same Mat chats for the 5, 6, and 7-year-olds and for teen and adult. So now we have different talks based on the age groups. Now, is it a lot of work? Absolutely, it's a lot of work, okay? Which is why I'm saying if you just want to get a better system in place, just start by creating it for your core age group. And then your coaches, as long as they practice enough, can just tailor it more towards the younger kids based on the language that they're using. Same thing for teen and adults. Hopefully that makes sense. And then for us, we do the same huddle talk all week. And we do that intentional because we know it's going to take them hearing it more than once for it to sink in. We also encourage our coaches to interweave their own stories into these chats. So a really, really good drill you can do with your team at your next staff training. You have all your coaches sitting around, and you're just going to give them one of your character development themes, and then they're going to have to give you a personal story that demonstrates that theme. Okay, and the one thing that, especially the young coaches, you need to get through to them is we want them to talk about their vulnerabilities. We want them to talk about their mistakes. That's okay. Okay, as long as the mistakes don't involve anything illegal, okay, we want them to talk about their mistakes. because that helps the rest of the room to connect more with them. Like I used to tell a story on being honest and telling the truth about when I was in 8th grade and I lied to my parents about where I was going, and I went to meet some girl that I liked, and I got grounded for the entire summer. I couldn't watch TV, couldn't play video games, I couldn't do anything except read and martial arts. That was the only thing I was allowed to do the entire summer. But it taught me a valuable lesson to make sure that I'm being honest and that I'm telling the truth. Okay, so being able to interweave personal stories like that just helps it to connect more to your students or to your athletes. So you give them a theme to focus on when they do that, right? Sorry, my phone's going off here. Let me just silence this. All right, ChatGPT is your friend. We've created some amazing mat chats based on training ChatGPT with this method and then having it give us an output. Okay, so this is an example of one of the mat chats that we created using this ChatGPT setup, where the theme is champions do daily what everyone else does occasionally. Okay, and then it has the mat chat on the left here. Now, that mat chat becomes your source of information delivery. What I mean by that, so we have this mat chat. We put this mat chat back into ChatGPT. We say, hey, ChatGPT, can you please turn this into a blog post that has SEO keywords in it? Okay, we do that so that way we just get more visibility online, and is targeted towards parents instead of kids. And then you can see our blog on the right. Okay, we got the picture of Johnny training one of our students there. And all it did was it took this, created a blog post, and now we can share that as a blog post. Then what happens? Well, then we take that same thing and we say, hey, can you please create a social media post to promote this blog post? And this is all in the same chat channel on ChatGPT. And now from one huddle talk, we have a blog post and a social media post to promote it. And now we can do this every week. So any week that we have a huddle talk, we also have a blog post and a social media post to go along with it. This is how the top companies in the world are creating content right now. They're taking one source piece of content and then using AI to turn it into multiple pieces of content so that they can save time. Really simple to do, saves you guys a lot of time so you don't have to think about different blog posts, different social media posts, all of that stuff. Blog posts are important because they're going to help you guys with search engine optimization. One of the things that Google's algorithm looks at is how often you update your website. Okay, the more updates you do on your website is pretty much telling Google's algorithm that your website is more relevant because it's constantly being added to and updated. The easiest way to update and add to your website is through blog posting. Okay, and it's a great way to help just increase your rankings on search. Okay, obviously we always need social media content constantly, but specifically social content that pertains to what we're teaching at our school. I want parents to go to our page and get a good idea of the experience and the education elements within our martial arts school. Okay, the next part we're going to talk about is challenges and missions. So challenges and missions are the way that you can get your students to actually act on the character traits. For example, you may be talking about goal setting, okay, and you can actually give your students a goal to set that they're going to go ahead and do. And now what I would recommend is when you have your students do these challenges or missions, we want them to share it on social. So part of our requirements is when they do these, they're going to post it on social and tag Move Martial Arts, either on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, wherever they're posting it. Why is that important? Well, number one, if you think about it, you are getting this out to a larger group of your target audience. Because if you think about it, who's the people posting this? Well, it's the moms or the dads, right? Most likely those moms and dads are friends with other moms and dads that also have kids that also live in your area. So when they're posting that Johnny just cleaned his room without being asked to do it, and they're tagging Move Martial Arts online, guess what? All their friends that also have kids that have been harping on their kid to freaking clean their room already is now seeing the social media post of their kid cleaning the room without even being asked to do it. Like, you don't get much better social proof than that. Okay. So I would highly encourage you to make sure that these, at least most of the missions that you do, have a social sharing element to it. Now, Adam, what if my parents don't have Facebook or they don't have Instagram? Well, most parents have at least one social media platform. But in the event that you have a parent that isn't on social at all, we just ask them to email us the picture instead of posting it on social media. Okay, and that's maybe one or two parents max out of our entire student base. I'll show you guys some examples at the end of that as well. Quarterly workshops. Okay, this is something new that we did at Move that I have not seen done in our industry. Obviously, everything else I've talked about so far, there's probably been some variations already done in our industry at some point. These workshops I have not seen done before. So what we do is, since we have 3-month seasons that we're focusing on character development, we hold a workshop every season. This is some pictures from our first workshop we ever did, which is our emotional mastery workshop. We have the parents and the kids come to this together. So this is an event that you can't just drop your kid off. Okay, it's for everyone to attend together. The feedback that we got from this workshop was overwhelmingly positive from parents. Now, what do we do at this workshop? Well, number one, it's all active training drills that go along with whatever the theme is, okay? So when we think about emotional intelligence, let me see if I have this class plan up that I can sort of share some of the games and stuff we did with you guys. Okay. So for this one, I'll sort of give you guys a quick run through of the class plan we use for this. Okay. Ours is called Emotional Mastery. So the very first part, we just review with the kids in a huddle formation. Hey, what is emotional mastery? And then we start walking them through the process of creating emotional mastery. So first is being able to identify when they're having emotional moments and what the emotions are that they're feeling. If you guys follow Jason Wilson at all on social media, he spoke at the summit. It was one of the best presentations I've ever seen in my life. He talked about emotional intelligence a lot in this and used what's called a wheel of emotions, okay, which is what we use in this seminar, where it's a wheel that has all the different emotions on it. And the first thing that we do is we just have the kids practice identifying emotions that they felt within the last week to their parents. And we use these wheels so that they can point to it. And well, why do you need a wheel to point to emotion? Well, when we did our research on this, what we found out is that most adults only know how to identify 3 emotions. This is adults only know how to identify 3 emotions: happy, sad, angry. That's it. If adults can only identify 3 emotions, how many emotions do you think kids can identify? So we use the wheel of emotions because it shows all the different emotions that you could possibly feel. And it helps kids learn how to communicate what they're feeling to their parents. After that, we then went ahead and started focusing on the next part of this, which is, after we identify the emotion, is being able to gain control over our emotions again. So for our students that came to this event, we focus on teaching them how to use breathing to calm themselves down so that they can think clearly and actually begin to start processing those emotions. So what did we do? We had the parents and the kids practice the breathing, and all we do, we make it simple. It's 3 deep breaths in and out, really simple. And then the next one was, we had the parents come out to the mat. We had the kids act out whatever emotion they want. They could be angry, frustrated, they could be crazy, energetic, excited. Okay. And then when we say go, we have them go to the parents all yell attention, the kids come over, mom or dad kneels down, puts their hands on Johnny's shoulders, looks them right in the eyes, and say, hey, let's do our 3 breaths. And they breathe in and out with the kid to coach them up on how to control their emotions. And then we had the parents say, tell me, what are you feeling right now? And then the kids are practicing actually explaining the emotions that they're feeling. And then the last part of this is we added a part for the parents, where the parents, after the kids explain what emotion they're feeling, the parents go, well, I think I can help you by, and then they have to give some sort of coaching or some sort of advice on how they can help their child to begin to process these emotions. Okay. What we don't want to happen is Johnny explains how he's feeling, and then mom or dad just says, suck it up, and hits them on the butt and gets them out of there, right? So as much as we're teaching kids emotional mastery at this workshop specifically, we're also teaching the parents how to handle those emotional moments in a positive way with their kids at home. And the crazy thing is, when we got done with this seminar or this workshop, parents were coming up and they're like, we've never learned how to do that before. We've never learned, my parents never did that with me. They would just yell at me, or they'd send me to my room anytime I would start to have like an emotional outburst. And now the parents are learning how to manage their kids better. The kids are learning how to self-regulate their emotions better. And it's a powerful event for both groups of people. The other thing that we wanted to really focus on in this workshop is also just educating the parents on how important this specific life skill is to the future or their child's future success. Okay, we essentially want to future-proof children. Okay, we want to prepare them for whatever else is going to come at them in life. So some of the things that we go over with the parents is just data. So like people with high emotional intelligence outperform people with high IQs 70% of the time. On average, people with a high emotional intelligence earn $29,000 per year more than people with low emotional intelligence. One emotional intelligence point on average equals $1,300 per year in income. Those are pretty powerful stats to give parents for why it's so important for their kids to develop emotional mastery. Yes, free community event. The picture from the first one we just did internally because it was sort of our chance to test it and make sure the workshops were actually a good thing to do. But what we do is we allow all the kids to bring a friend now. So the kids can bring a friend, and that parent, their friend's parent, will also come to the seminar as well. I think you can definitely make this a free community event and open it up to everyone. We filled our spots for our last one almost immediately. So most likely what we're going to be doing is doing one just for students and then one for the community moving forward. But this has literally been probably one of the most powerful events we've ever done at our school, as far as just the feedback that we got from parents. And I've now gone in there to like watch my own kids for class, and you'll see a kid that maybe got hit a little too hard during sparring. And instead of the parent just like pushing them back out there, now we'll see the parent actually like hands on the shoulders, calm them back down, and sort of refocus them, and then get them back out there. So we see the parents actually putting it into practice as well. We've seen parents on the side of the mat do it with younger siblings as well. So just some like really powerful stuff. So when you guys are putting together sort of your workshop outlines, okay, the main points to hit is, number one, we need actionable drills. Okay, it shouldn't be a 1-hour lecture. Okay, talking should happen 2 minutes at a time, and then they're doing something active to actually demonstrate the life skill. Okay, Adam, how do you come up with the drills? Google, yo. Google, and being a parent myself, because my kids have emotional moments all the time, and we always use 3 breaths at home to calm them down. But you can easily Google that stuff. You can read books on these different subjects, like mental toughness. There's a great book called Mental Toughness for Young Athletes. And there's also a parent handbook to go with it. And I think the parent handbook is actually better than the book for young athletes, because it teaches parents how to manage their young athletes when they're going through difficulty, when they want to quit, when they want to give up. So there's a lot of books that you guys can find online that will help with this as well. Okay, let's jump into our magazine and missions. If you guys remember Kodo magazine back in the day, I thought that was like one of the best things to ever come into the martial arts industry. And when we were coming up with an idea for how we're going to make character development exciting and cool for kids, the first thing I thought of, like, man, Kodo magazine was so good. It'd be cool if we had something similar like that was just character development focused. So we developed what we call our Move magazine. Okay, in our Move magazine, we have a new one that comes out every single quarter. It is an actual magazine. It's like on average 12 to 15 pages. But in this magazine, we usually have some sort of focus on a specific person that we use as an example for someone that has shown whatever character development trait that we're focused on. These are just 2 of the magazine examples. So we have Failing Forward. We have Walt Disney on the left. If you have read Disney's story, not the one that Disney, the company, teaches you, but his like actual story, dude had more close calls with bankruptcy, more shutdowns of companies, more bouts with depression, more lawsuits than probably any other business person I've ever met in my life. And yet he powered through and still built Disney out of it. Robert Downey Jr., if you're familiar at all with his story, really had no control of his emotions early on in life and was able to overcome and gain control of those emotions throughout time. Everything on here cover-wise is AI generated, just so you guys know. So we're not stealing any straight up copyrighted material. Now, I'll preface this with saying AI is very much a gray area, as my attorney would tell you. So there may come a time where Disney sues like Midjourney or Dolly or something like that for image creation, and then we're no longer allowed to use AI like this on our stuff. We have backups already ready for that. But we use AI to create this, and obviously a graphic designer puts it all together. But even like the little scenes you see in the strip of film, those are all AI generated images. None of these are actually Disney owned images, including the stuff in the back as well. The main thing is you want something that kids are going to want to pick up. We even take these to our booths that we do out of the community, and these become lead magnets now for kids. What you do is put your QR code for your trial on the back page of it, okay, with your trial offer on it. These cost us to print about $1.50 a piece. So not too bad. And then just some of the things on the inside. One thing you have to remember is if you do some sort of magazine, flyer, worksheet, whatever for kids, okay, it can't just be paragraphs of text. Okay, it has to be really, really easy and quick to read and easy and quick to understand. We've done 2 different routes on actually creating these. I've had a professional copywriter write them, and I've also done them where myself and ChatGPT writes it. Honestly, I think myself and ChatGPT did better just because we knew the target audience better. Like I knew the target audience better. So I was able to sort of craft it in a way that would appeal more to kids. These are some examples of how we use the person on the front to focus on what the character developments are. And then we have our move missions. So at our martial arts school, there's a bunch of different things that the athletes can do to earn experience points, much like they would earn in a video game. And then they need 100 experience points to get to their next belt. So a lot of that is going to be based on what's done on the mat and what they're tested on. And then about a third of that is what's done off the mat. So how they're doing things at home as far as behavioral wise and just focusing on the character development traits. So you can see our move mission here. One of them is just they're playing the wheel of motions with their parents. Okay. And then they're writing down about a time when they felt emotional. All right. And you can see for kids under the age of 8, their parents can help them write the story. Okay. But they're going to just fill in the blank and talk about their emotions. What are we teaching the kids essentially? We're giving them an outlet and actually teaching them how to journal, right? How to journal about their emotions. Throughout the last few years, I've had different people in my life, whether it be employees or maybe friends or people I grew up with that have had to deal with alcoholism or different things. And the thing that the one thing that they all have in common that I've started to notice is that they keep things bottled up inside that they never get out of them. Okay, and because they keep it bottled up inside, it causes a lot of physical and mental pain and trauma on them as a result. And then what do they go to do? They go to numb that trauma with alcohol or whatever their vice is to numb that pain. Whereas if, in my opinion, and I'm no therapist, I believe if early on in life, if they would have learned how to communicate their emotions, how to have a positive outlet for it, something like journaling, okay, I think it would have been a lot less likely for them to be put in that position as an adult in life. So for me, I think getting kids to understand how to have this conversations, how to communicate their feelings, and then also teaching the parents at the same time that, hey, when your kid's communicating their feelings, it matters. Don't brush it off. Don't push it to the side. Like sit there and have this conversation with them because this is their way of processing these emotions and these feelings and actually having an outlet for them instead of keeping it bottled up. And then to go along with our emotional intelligence challenge, we created a 21-day habit challenge for them where they're pretty much just doing Wim Hof breathing every day for 21 days. Okay, and they just track it on here. And one of the things that we like to do in every season is we have some sort of habit building challenge that they have to do, which means we always do it. We do 21 days as the number for us because they have 3 months to get it done in. And we know that according to some studies that 21 days is the time to build a habit. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it works pretty good. And I always test this out on my own kids first before we actually do the challenge. So they're sort of the move mission guinea pigs in a sense. But my kids now, when we get in the car, they without my wife or I saying it, they start doing Wim Hof breathing when they're in the car to get their breathing in and to just like control their emotions and regulate their system. And there's a lot of different ways you guys can go with different challenges that you do with this. But for me, and this is something my brother was doing at his school like years and years and years ago. He was so good at creating missions for them to do at home that we're getting them to actually demonstrate the life skills. And I think if you have a character development program, there needs to be some element that gets them to actually practice the character development outside of your facility. Okay, because if we're teaching our students and our athletes to be leaders, do we just want them to be a leader when they're on the mat? That doesn't really do much for them in life. I want them to be the leader in the community. I want them to be the leader at school. I want them to be the leader at home. And I want them to be able to understand and communicate character development and life skills in a way that other kids their age here, other people their age here, and they just look at them like, man, you know your stuff. You know more than I do about this. And that's sort of been the main goal as we put this program together. Now, what I wanted to do real quick was just open it up to questions, any questions you guys have. Also, this is a great chance too, if you just have ideas just from watching this or ideas that you already had in your head of some things that you want to do with your character development program, or maybe some things that you are doing with it that's working really great. Like let's share whatever we can, because as always, the goal is to uplift the entire industry and make martial arts get back to being modern again. Every other industry thinks that we're like 25 years behind them, and in some instances we are. But I think innovating as much as possible and having this communication with each other is how we push the industry forward. Okay, any questions? Did this help everyone sort of think a little differently about your life skill program? Yes? Okay, good. And then, see, if a student really gets it, have them run a presentation or cover on social media in their words, I love that too. I think that could be a great challenge. We've also have had students that have done like their presentations for school on some of these different character traits that they're learning at our school, which is really cool. When you find out that they are doing something based on what they've learned in your school at their elementary school, that I think that's pretty powerful as well. Awesome, thank you, Jesse. Okay, guys, that's all I have for today. If you guys think of anything else afterwards and you want to shoot me a message, just hit me up on Facebook. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Also, I want to just announce, if you guys did not see it already, all of you guys that are agency clients and you're in Done For You Dojo and have martial arts systems, starting next week, we're doing a weekly Wednesday call. So I'll be doing a weekly call every Wednesday with all of you guys that are part of that group, where we're just going to deep dive into different systems and strategies for your martial arts school once a week. So it'll be a great chance for you guys just to sit and learn and share. And then for me, I'm excited because it gives me an opportunity to connect with all of you guys every single week, which I can't wait to do that more actively and more often. All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate all of you guys for jumping on. We'll see you guys on the next one.